Cracking, folks. How you doing? Happy Friday. It is January 24th. We got a lot of stuff. We got some cool shit to talk about today. It is also my mother's 60th birthday. Unfortunately, she is dead in bed. Not dead, but sick. Just not able to do anything at all. Can't celebrate her birthday. Not a Zippo Zilch. Can't eat the cake I bought her. She is sick in bed, unfortunately, but happy birthday, Mom. I love you. Other than that, there's been a lot of other shit that's happened this week, too. Sorry, it took me a little bit. I had to get everything all squared away as far as the stuff we're going to talk about today, because there's some shit that happened. Lots of cool shit that happened. Lots and lots of cool shit that happened, for show. First and foremost, though, I do have a new drop because there is some breaking news. Here, I got something for you guys. Check this out. So, this news right here, breaking news. Lanterns, HBO's DC Studios series cast Ulrich Thompson as Sinestro. There's the gentleman right there. The upcoming HBO series Lanterns has cast a major DC villain. Variety has confirmed that Ulrich Thompson has joined the Green Lantern series in a recurring role of Sinestro. He will appear alongside previously announced leads Kyle Chandler, Aaron Pierre, as well as cast members Kelly MacDonald, Garrett Dillahunt, and Porna Jagannathan. Per the official logline, we already know the logline. Sinestro is a longtime figure in the Green Lantern world, originally debuted in 1961, previously portrayed by Mark Strong of the 2011 film. Yada, yada, yada. The official description for the character states, ruthless yet undeniably charming. Sinestro is a former Green Lantern who turned rogue. Sinestro's manipulative nature drives his enduring obsession with his former mentee, Hal Jordan. Thompson has primarily appeared in Danish productions during his career, also previously starred in American series like Banshee, shows like The Blacklist counterpart. He was in the James Bond film The World Is Not Enough, as well as the internationally is known for starring in the Danish film Festen, known as The Celebration. Rep by Green Talent, Link Entertainment, and Accelerate. So, okay. What does that mean? What does this mean? Well, it means Sinestro is in the Lantern series. Pretty much indicates he's probably going to be a Yellow Lantern based on that log line and description. And also considering Hal Jordan is, in fact, a seasoned one this time around, it stands to reason that Sinestro and him will probably have history. As far as the casting goes, I vaguely remember him in The Blacklist. So impress me, not in a bad way, but it's like I trust Damon Lindelof, I trust Chris Mundy, and I trust Tom King. I think they know what they're doing with this. I feel like they know what kind of story they want to tell, and they have a very specific person in mind. And I'm sure they probably tested a couple different actors for the role, and clearly Ulrich Thompson did something sinister to give them what they wanted. So how does Sinestro play in the Lanterns? That is the question, right? Was he the one who committed the murder? Is he just there to taunt Hal Jordan? Like, what role will Sinestro have to play in the Lantern series? That, I think, is the ultimate question. But it sounds like they will already be at odds, and he will already be no longer a Green Lantern. He will more than likely, again, as I said earlier, he will more than likely have the yellow ring of fear. That's my guess. I think if James Gunn is going for the lived-in world where things are already established, we may get lore dumps in like flashback sequences, kind of like how we got with Creature Commandos. I think it's safe to say that as far as the Green Lanterns are concerned, since Hal Jordan is already more than established in the veteran one, and John Stewart is the young and up-and-coming rookie, stands to reason that, of course, Hal Jordan had beef with Sinestro. Sinestro went rogue. He's more than likely going to be a Yellow Lantern, which then may also indicate that the other colored spectrum ring bearers could come into play down the line, i.e., the Red Lanterns of Atrocitus the Indigo Lanterns, the White Lanterns, possibly the Black Lanterns, maybe down the road somewhere. I'm thinking Star Sapphires as well. The Orange for fuck's sake, if they somehow manage to get Larfleeze in there, I'd be shocked, but also kind of interested, because that is a one-note character that is meant to be funny, and if they somehow manage to sneak in Larfleeze in there, I will laugh my ass off. But all that said, laying the groundwork here for the Lanterns corner of the DC universe, and you already have a Sinestro, you have a Green Lantern and Hal Jordan, and as well as John Stewart. This is going to be pretty cool. IMO, I think this is solid casting nonetheless. I could see this guy putting on some purple makeup and a black wig. Yeah, I think this is a good idea. Good call. Good casting call. Some cool news. And I actually just threw that breaking news thing together literal minutes before I started the stream, so I'm glad I got to test it out here. Anyway, now that we've got the breaking news out of the way, let's go ahead and say what's with the chat. Boy, Brady, man. Getting a good live action Sinestro. I beg to differ. I actually think Mark Strong did a great job with what he was given to do. He was not a bad spot in that movie. I think a lot of things in that movie failed. Mark Strong as Sinestro was not one of them. Jeffrey Dirksen, what's up, dude? 16 days away from the Super Bowl, we'll get a trailer for Fantastic Four and Jurassic World Rebirth. I don't doubt that one bit. I've been saying for a while that the trailer for Fantastic Four will more than likely drop at Super Bowl Sunday. That way they can throw it in front of Captain America Brave New World. Wouldn't at all be surprised by that. Hype for Fantastic Four? Of course, I'm hyped too. Hoping that the Fantastic Four will get the Council of Reeds, and I hope they get Ian Grufford and Miles Teller to return. I feel like one of those is for sure going to happen. Other one, that's a gamble. Thank you, Jeffrey. Thank you very much. Mom, what? How you doing? 85 DT. Just heard about the Sinestro casting. Jeffrey says, great casting. Love the actor in Banshee. See, I haven't seen Banshee, so I couldn't tell you. Do you think Alan Scott could be in Lanterns? I think if Alan Scott shows up, it will be as like a final episode sting, maybe, as one of those like other character. I don't know. I mean, the possibilities are certainly there. Whether or not they actually go through with it, I mean, yeah, it's possible. I won't say no, but definitely possible. I've always been a fan of Indigo Lanterns, the Blue Lanterns, and the Red Lanterns. See, I have the Red Lanterns first volume by Peter Milligan from the New 52. That's where I got a lot of detail out of them. I think Bleeze and Atrocitus, all those characters are fucking wild in their own right. They are pretty cool. It'd be pretty cool to see them come to live action at some point. Got Talati in the chat. What's up, dude? How you doing? I love the Red Lanterns as well. I might be wrong about this, but I know Guy Gardner at one point was a Red Lantern. Was Supergirl a Red Lantern? I don't think Supergirl was a Red Lantern. Proves people shouldn't be scared of the show being grounded. People keep saying that instead it's grounded, we're not getting any Green Lantern power suits at all. See, that's bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. You could easily do a grounded Lantern show and still have it have their power rings and their suits, and like that's such a stupid thing to say, because like, as much as I don't really like what the show did for a story, you know, Titans proved like, yeah, you can do a TV show and have these fantastical characters in them, like Beast Boy and Starfire and fucking Raven. So I don't understand why people think a grounded Green Lantern story is just automatically going to rescind any shape of them showing powers or showing the rings off. I'm just like, fucking logic does that come from? It doesn't make any sense. It's stupid. It's stupid logic is what it boils down to. Like, basically, if anyone is saying dumb shit like that, number one, they've probably never worked on any kind of big budget production in their life. Number two, they're just sitting back in their chairs acting like they know fuck all when they actually just kind of know fuck all. So I don't know. I think people kind of tend to overthink things way too much, especially when it comes to, like, say, Robert Pattinson's Batman joining the DCU. I think people are overthinking that way too much and thinking of it as an actual possibility. I think that's a little much too, but that's a whole different fucking conversation for another day. Travis in the chat, do you think Fanta F4 holds its release date? Well, considering the movie comes out in checks notes, 7 months. Yeah, I do think that movie's going to make its release date. Just because we haven't seen anything from it doesn't mean it's going to move its release date. Not only that, Marvel has nowhere to move it this year. All 3 of those movies are locked in for release for when they are going to release. Thunderbolts is coming in May. Captain America is coming next month. I promise you, Fantastic Four will hit in July, regardless of whatever happens with Superman and Jurassic World at the box office. Okay, Supergirl was a Red Lantern in the New 52. That's what I thought, but I wasn't 100% sure about that. But speaking of Supergirl, Guy Gardner being a Red Lantern makes sense. He's a Jack. 100% right. But speaking of Supergirl, here's something cool. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, first BTS image was finally shown off. That's right. Let's go ahead and pull this up because this is actually pretty fucking cool. If I can just do my share thing. Here we go. Present, share screen. There we are. Okay. James Gunn posted this yesterday. I saw this immediately when I was at work, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Thrilled to see cameras roll at WB Studios Leavesden on Supergirl with Craig Gillespie at the helm and the phenomenal Millie Alcock as our Kara Zor-El. Craig brings an incredible sensibility to the story, and Millie is every inch the unique Supergirl envisioned by Tom King. I fuck this person's name up every single time. Oh my god, what the... Bleakwis Lively. I really hope I said that right. I can't say for sure if I did. And of course, Anna Noguera. She is handling the scripting duties for the screen to the adaptation to screen. Sorry. So let's go ahead and take a look at this photo, right? So, number one, there's the Supergirl logo. It's spray painted. You can tell, you can at 100%. That is 100% going to be the Supergirl logo on her suit. It's probably not going to be like Superman's in that it's not going to have the yellow around it. It's probably going to be the red and blue only. That's my guess. Number two, look at the background she's sitting at. That's very clearly a bar. The book itself, Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow, opens up with Kara getting drunk on her birthday in a space bar. I 100% believe that they're kind of being like, hey, the book opened up with a bar. Our first day of shooting, we're shooting a scene that is evocative of that. And on top of that, she was wearing kind of like a hood in that too, before she gets up and, helps, I believe it's Evie? I forget the little girl's name. Ruthie. The actress's name is Evie, but the character's name is Ruthie. There we go. So yeah, that's a pretty kick-ass image right there. First image of Supergirl. It's just enough of a tease to get people excited, letting everyone know production has officially kicked off. There were rumors and speculation that production began last week. However, I think that this image is James Gunn saying, no, this is day one of filming. I for sure believe this is probably day one of the heavy cool shit. Maybe they started filming, locationary stuff a week ago, but this was probably the first day of filming with actors on set. I'm excited. I loved Woman of Tomorrow. I think Woman of Tomorrow is like one of the best comics that has been done in recent years. It's a very self-contained story. It's very visually beautiful. It's very colorful in a great way. It's a ruthless story too. Just all around, just badass comic book like Tom King. Look, Tom King, people have their opinions on Tom King, and that's totally fine. Like, I wasn't super big on his Batman run, but his Batman Catwoman stuff is great. His Mr. Miracle book is great. Heroes for Crisis, that's another story for another day. I forget, what else has Tom King done? He's also working on Lanterns, the TV show, as I just mentioned, but I feel like there's a book he's done that I'm missing. Oh, I remember now. Okay, so I haven't read it yet because it's not all collected, but he is doing a book with Ryan Sook, Black Canary, and he's like, I forget what the title is, Best of the Best or something like that, but Black Canary and Big Bart are having a fucking boxing match. So that's cool. Let's see. Braden says, I do see people concerned that the CGI for Fantastic Four is going to be terrible. Deadpool and Wolverine came out at the same time frame and had great CGI. Okay, it's also important to remember that Deadpool and Wolverine shut down production midway before they filmed a lot of the action-heavy stuff. And even then, if you look at a lot of the action-heavy stuff they did and a lot of the CGI stuff they did, didn't really require too much CGI. And if you look at the way Matt Shakman operates, he did handle WandaVision, which was a period piece, a series of period pieces. I also think that if you're going to do certain things in this movie that involve superpowers, I think that it's probably been well thought out. Otherwise, they wouldn't have put this movie into production when they did. So, I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic that this film's going to make its release date and it's going to have pretty solid visual effects. I mean, what is Marvel filming right now? As far as I know, nothing. As far as I know, nothing is in production for Marvel Studios on the live action side. They are gearing up to do Avengers Doomsday. That is the next live action project on their docket. Thunderbolts is predominantly practical in terms of execution and action and stuff like that. There was a lot of minimal CGI. And Captain America Brave New World, that movie comes out in a month. I would have to imagine if any VFX houses are working on Fantastic Four, that is arguably the only Marvel production, live action production, they are probably working on. Yeah, Ironheart comes out in June. Yeah, Daredevil comes out in March. But think about it too. Think about it this way. How much CGI does Daredevil really need? Probably not a lot. Not in comparison to something like Fantastic Four. I truly think that, you know, the problem that VFX houses faced years ago, or at least as far back as the last 2 years, too many Marvel projects to work on all at once, and also other projects from other studios all at once. Them dialing back their output would, in theory, dial back the number of visual effects needed. At least that's my logic behind it. I could very well be wrong about that, but I do think Fantastic Four will be just fine. There's actually 2 bar scenes. That one where it's her birthday and that one where she's getting a gun pointed at her because someone hates her cousin. That's right. Absolutely right, Braden. One where she's getting is the picture you're seeing right now. It could be. Very well could be. Did Tom King work on a story with Flashpoint Batman? He might have. I don't remember. Actually, they're going to film Daredevil Born Again Season 2 and Vision Quest. Oh yeah, Vision Quest should go into production this year, but they haven't yet. That's the thing. They haven't gone into production on either of those things yet. But even then, those are television shows, not movies. The only movies they're going into production this year on, as far as I can tell, are Avengers Doomsday and Spider-Man 4. And even then, between those two, Tom Holland is going to have a fucking packed schedule. Holy shit, I feel bad for that guy. Oh my god. But speaking of Marvel, and speaking of Spider-Man, actually I could do one or the other because this is like a two-way street. Yeah, we'll get this out of the way. This will go first. Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man episode titles have been revealed. All right, let's go ahead and, because this was just shown, I think, today. Like, this is also breaking news. But here are the episode titles for Amazing. Wow, I keep calling it Amazing Spider-Man, but it's Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. 2025 classic. Okay, this is cute. So new episodes on Wednesdays. And the thing is they're doing it in batches, which is kind of strange because I think this is the only show that so far where they've done, I could be wrong about this, but as far as I know, this is the only Disney Plus Marvel thing they've done where it's literally just episodes in batches, not one a week, not one every day, like in literal batches every week, you get a couple episodes. So January 29th, the season premiere, we get episode 1, Amazing Fantasy. That is very clearly a nod to Amazing Fantasy 15, Spider-Man's first appearance. Episode 2, also from what I understand, all of these are named after comic book titles, which a few of these I recognize, a few of them I don't. The Parker Luck is episode 2. That makes sense. Then on February 5th, we get episodes 3, 4, and 5. Episode 3 titled Secret Identity Crisis. Episode 4 hitting the big time. Episode 5, The Unicorn Unleashed. I feel like I know of one of these titles. I think Secret Identity Crisis is one I've seen in passing. February 12th, episodes 6, 7, and 8, Duel with the Devil. That's very clearly probably going to be the Daredevil episode. Episode 7, Scorpion Rising. Episode 8, Tangled Web. Duel with the Devil, I know I've seen. I've seen that cover. Scorpion Rising, I feel like I might have heard of it. Tangled Web, I feel like I've also seen that. And then finally, the finale taking place on February 19th, episode 9 and episode 10. Episode 9 being titled Hero or Menace, and then episode 10, If This Be My Destiny. All right. Well, let's go ahead and look up some of these titles, right? Because I'm kind of curious about this, personally. Hold on, I just closed that out. There we go. Okay. Let's go ahead and look up, well, we don't need to look up Amazing Fantasy, but Parker Luck comic cover. That's a trade paperback. But it should be... Maybe they're not going in like sequential order. Maybe they're just pulling from everywhere. This looks right though. So here's one on eBay. That's the Parker Luck, written by Dan Slott, drawn by I forget the artist name, but Ramos. Next up, we have Secret Identity Crisis. Identity Crisis. Images. Is this it? That's the Amazing Spider-Man Identity Crisis. But is it the Secret Identity Crisis? Close enough, I suppose. I don't know. I wouldn't know this. Jake would probably know better than I would, but... Spider-Man Identity Crisis. I see Chainsaw and Ronan join the chat. What's up, guys? Hope you're having a great Friday. That's Spider-Man Identity Crisis. Next up is Hitting the Big Time. Let's see. Hitting the Big Time. Images. Okay, so this one must be based off of the Big Time trade paperback. There's that. That's pretty effing cool. IMO. Okay. Next up is The Unicorn Unleashed. I feel like that sounds like more of a Deadpool comic more than anything. Well, nothing is coming up for that. Oh, because it's possibly an Iron Man comic. That's why. Interesting. Very interesting. I wonder if he's facing off that villain. Maybe. I don't know. Not really sure. All right, this one has to be based off of something. Spider-Man Duel with the Devil. Images. Okay, now I'm just getting a bunch of Mephisto shit. Devil's Dinosaur, that's an annual. Comic cover. Gang War. Huh. That's against Deathstroke. That's kind of weird. Well, I don't know if this is it, but I'll share it anyway, just because I like this. It's pretty cool. Oh, darn it. Hold on. There we go. So there's Spider-Man. There's Daredevil. That looks a lot like Deathstroke. Deathstroke is only the first half of the Double Danger at the Daily Bugle. I doubt this is what Duel with the Devil takes to inspiration from, but still a cool title card nonetheless. All right, Scorpion Rising. Let's see if that's based off of anything. Let's see. Worldwide. Let's see. Oh, okay. Well, this is very clearly one based off of a Dan Slott comic. So there's the title for the trade paperback right there, Worldwide Volume 2. Hey, Scorpio Rising. Did I say, is it Scorpion or Scorpio Rising? It says Scorpion Rising, not Scorpio, but okay. All right, next up is Tangled Web. Images. Image, new tab. Share this tab instead. There is Spider-Man's Tangled Web. Very Sam Raimi Spider-Man font inspired. It's still cool nonetheless. Still cool nonetheless. I like that. All right. Next up is Hero or Menace. This one I feel like is for sure an old school comic cover. Actually, it might just be a fucking Daily Bugle reference. Yeah. Because it was for sure used in Spider-Man the movie. So here's the image. Hero or Menace. Get me pictures of Spider-Man! Love it. And then finally, the last one, If This Be My Destiny. Oh, let's see. Ooh, wow. That's cool. That's a cool looking image. Now that's very colorful, and I feel like that might have even been drawn by, was it Ditko? I've got it up here. Spider-Man, creator Stan Lee, Steve Ditko. Issue number is this? Starting college, Peter Parker, Spider-Man race against the clock to find a serum that was taken by the mysterious master planner to save a dying Aunt May. Meanwhile, Peter tries to avoid Betty after revealing that Ned proposed to her. It's Amazing Spider-Man number 31. Wow. So, written by Stan Lee, drawn by none other than Steve Ditko himself. That's pretty cool. All right. That was pretty effing awesome. I'm looking forward to it. I'll for sure be talking about it here every Friday. Because let's see, the 29th. Let's check out the release date schedule for that one more time. Let's see, January 29th is 5 days from now. That is Wednesday. Then the 5th, then the 12th, and the 19th. Okay, so every Wednesday there will be a new episode of Friendly Neighborhood. So yeah, that's cool. That'll be an interesting show to watch. I think someone in the chat mentioned that the reviews for it are pretty good so far, which, hey, I'm excited. I'll watch it. I will watch that show. You can't tell me there's a Spider-Man animated show and then like not expect me to watch it. So I'll watch it day one, talk about it here, probably write some. Actually, I am writing reviews for it on Multiverse Color. So yeah, that'll be a fun time. You know who else is going to appear in Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, but is not going to appear in the next Avengers movie? Doctor Strange. That's right. Benedict Cumberbatch is out there doing the thing. Doing the thing. By doing the thing, I mean he is giving reviews, giving interviews. He's giving interviews. I realized the word I was looking for. Giving interviews. Let's see. All right. So let's go ahead and read this little bit here. I'm going to Control F, Doomsday. All right, so this is the part in the interview where they're talking about Doctor Strange. Continue to play in the Avengers, keep out existential threats. Cumberbatch let something slip, seems momentarily horrified by his candor. He's just told me Doctor Strange is taking a hiatus in the next Marvel sequel, 2026 Avengers Doomsday. Is that a spoiler, he asks? Fuck it. I love that Benedict Cumberbatch is so far into his career where he can literally just drop shit like this and be like, fuck it, whatever. They're not going to be too mad. I'm not revealing too much information. Undeterred, he shares that things changed when Jonathan Majors, whose character Kang was intended to serve as the main antagonist of the next phase of comic book film franchise, was fired in 2024 after being convicted of assaulting his ex-girlfriend. Cumberbatch's absence from Doomsday has to do with the character not aligning with this part of the story, and though he probably shouldn't be saying this, he also reveals that Doctor Strange is in a lot of Avengers Secret Wars, which hits theaters in 2027. I'm going to be brutally honest. I think Avengers Secret Wars is not hitting 2027. I think they're going to push that back a year. That's what I think is going to happen. I think they're going to push it back a full year, 2028, because they're not filming these movies back to back. He's quite central to where things might go, and he hints that the character's last scene casting spells in Multiverse of Madness will appear in a third standalone film, but is hesitant to say too much beyond praising Marvel for being very collaborative. Now, this part's interesting. They are very open to discussing where we go next. Who do you want to write and direct the next one? What part of the comic lore do you want to explore so that Strange could keep evolving? He's a very rich character to play. He's complex, contradictory, troubled human who's got these extraordinary abilities, so there's potent stuff to mess about with. Avengers movies consume much of Cumberbatch's time, but when he's not busy being a superhero, he's leveraging his stardom to finance smaller, riskier projects that allow him to keep growing as an actor. They include Eric, a Netflix miniseries where he played an alcoholic puppeteer whose son disappears, The Electric Life of Lewis Wayne, a biopic about an eccentric painter obsessed with drawing cats, and the upcoming Roses, a reimagining of The War of Roses, with Cumberbatch and Olivia Colman clashing as a couple whose marriage is fraying. Most of them, like Roses and The Thing with Feathers, were developed and made through Sunny March, the production company Cumberbatch launched in 2013 with the goal of nurturing the kind of bespoke, offbeat fare that Hollywood doesn't support. Okay, so this to me reads as if Benedict Cumberbatch, and even to an extent Tom Holland, have taken a note from the likes of Robert Downey Jr., from Ben Affleck, and they've basically, as becoming major players in the roles that they have played, they have now, I would guess, taken a heavy executive producer role. Meaning, if Marvel is asking him, who do you want to write? Who do you want to direct? What kind of story do you want to tell with this character? They're giving Cumberbatch a lot of freedom and malleability to move wherever he wants, which I think is actually pretty ingenious. That said, when it comes to his role or lack thereof in Avengers Doomsday, remember, once upon a time, Avengers Doomsday was going to be called Avengers Kang Dynasty. And when Jonathan Majors got fired, a lot of that went into question. Even before that, Daniel Destin Cretton walked away from directing that movie. And now he's directing Spider-Man 4, which means that Marvel likes working with Daniel Destin Cretton, but once things went to shambles with Kang the Conqueror as a character, they had to completely redo and retrofit a lot of different things. And I don't doubt one bit that having Multiverse of Madness be the movie that it was and having Kang be the villain that he was, there was probably going to be some intricate counterplay there. Now that Avengers Doomsday is the thing that is happening, I don't necessarily think that Robert Downey Jr. He's definitely going to be in that movie because, well, he's the fucking villain. No, I think Benedict Cumberbatch is Strange. You don't really need him, or his role was written into someone else, whatever role he may have served in Kang Dynasty or whatever the fuck was happening. They retrofitted it to another character, or simply they just cut his part out. Whatever he was supposed to do in Kang Dynasty, and when they decided to rework it into Doomsday, whatever they needed Doctor Strange for, nope, we don't need it. Which is fine. Totally fine. Because the beautiful thing about Benedict Cumberbatch's Doctor Strange is he shows up when he needs to. And he is a phenomenal character. Like, Doctor Strange, in my opinion, is like a top-tier MCU character and a top-tier... His movies are top-tier MCU movies. If you respectfully disagree, that's totally fine. You're entitled to your opinion, even if I think they don't align with mine. And that's totally fine. But in my humble opinion, both Doctor Strange films are top 5 MCU movies, straight up. And I think Benedict Cumberbatch is a fucking phenomenal actor in his own right. He has a lot of range. He has a lot of just elasticity. Like, the man can do no wrong, in my opinion, when it comes to this role. And I think if him being absent from Doomsday means anything, it just gives other characters who have not had a lot of time to shine. I.e., we're probably going to get... I know this for fact. I was in Hall H when they said it. The Fantastic Four are going to be in Avengers Doomsday. Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom is the central antagonist of Avengers Doomsday. I would bet donuts to dollars that Sam Wilson's Captain America is probably going to be in Avengers Doomsday. Who else? I'm going to go ahead and throw out probably Mark Ruffalo's Hulk. He'll probably be there too. He's one of the few left standing. Thor, maybe. In my opinion, you really want to make waves? You really want that movie to have stakes and impact people and make people fucking cry? You have Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom kill Thor within the first 5 to 10 minutes of that movie. Mwamba, you're right. Chris Evans and Haley Atwell are also reportedly set to reprise their roles in this movie as well. Or rather, they're set to return. I did see a rumor that Doomsday or Secret Wars is going to be like, you know, all of the original 6 coming back as like evil versions of their respective Avengers. And I'm like, well, maybe. I don't know. Not really sure. Oh, Joypad Jake's in the chat. Strange was definitely more central story to Avengers 5. Strange being absent in this movie might have some sort of effect impact. Hawkeye, Ant-Man being absent. And see, that's a good point too. That's a great point. Like, it's similar to how Hawkeye and Ant-Man were like near absent, if not totally absent, Avengers Infinity War, but were 100% there for Endgame. Yeah, I could see Doctor Strange coming in Secret Wars after everything's all fucked up and being like, who the fuck let this happen? What the fuck? That's what I think's probably going to happen. But Mwamba's right. Chris Evans is for sure coming back, as well as Haley Atwell. Is it true that some members of the Thunderbolts will be in Secret Wars and Doomsday? I think if anyone from that movie is going to be in either Doomsday or Secret Wars, assuming they even make it out alive. I would guess Bucky. People love Sebastian Stan. I would guess Winter Soldier would probably be there. If in the event they bring back Scarlett Johansson as like an evil Black Widow, yeah, you could probably make the debate that Florence Pugh would show up too, just to see the horrifying look on her face, seeing an evil version of her sister. Maybe John Walker. I don't know about that personally, but yeah, that's one that I think keeps coming to mind. John Walker. Yeah, I think the two most likely candidates to show up from Thunderbolts into Secret Wars or Doomsday more than likely would be Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan, i.e. Yelena Belova and Bucky Barnes. I think they are the two most likely candidates, for sure. Anyone else? No idea. Bob, maybe, because he's playing Sentry and they need all the power they're going to get, but I don't know. Speaking of power, powerhouses. I was going to shift gears here a little bit, but stay in the Disney home, Disney House of Mouse. This is a power get if I've ever seen one. Is Ryan Gosling headed to Star Wars? That is the question. Well, according to Hollywood Reporter, it's a fucking done deal. Well, not really a done deal, but he's in very heavy negotiations. I put Red Guardian in Secret Wars and Doomsday. You know, I feel like if you kill Thor and you need some comedic relief, yeah, I guess you could probably throw in Red Guardian, sure. But I don't know, it just kind of depends on like what's David Harbour's schedule look like. I mean, it's probably freed up now that he's done with Stranger Things. Definitely. I mean, I have not really seen evil versions of Chris Evans, Steve Rogers, and Scarlett Jo, Natasha, and I don't care if it pisses fanboys off. I don't give a shit, honestly. Like, I if it makes people mad, good. Let them be mad. Because I am sick and tired of like bickering with fans who just don't have a fucking clue of how any of this works because they think everything caters to them. No, it doesn't. It does not cater to them at all. It caters to a general audience. That's who they're catering to. You want to surprise the people who aren't invested in this shit, i.e. general audience fans. And so you want to surprise. And honestly, if you really want to surprise people, I think Ryan Gosling heading into Star Wars. That's kind of surprising. I of all the things I thought Ryan Gosling would do, Star Wars was not on that list. Now, this is per the Hollywood Reporter by Boris Kitt, Pamela McClintock. Star Wars shocker, Ryan Gosling in talks to star in Sean Levy's movie. Okay, the three-time Oscar nominee is in negotiations to top-line the Star Wars feature project that will be directed by Deadpool Wolverine filmmaker Sean Levy. Details on the Star Wars project are harder to acquire than plans for an orbital planet killer, and this one is no exception. It's pretty clever writing there, Boris. Levy has been developing his Star Wars feature since 2022, and with Jonathan Tropper, I hope I said that right, who collaborated with Levy on films such as This Is Where I Leave You and The Adam Project. They've been working on the script for over a year. They are also producing this feature via 21 Laps Banner, which is Sean Levy's producing company, also with Kathleen Kennedy as well as Lucasfilm. It is unclear when Levy's project is set. Star Wars stories have run the gamut of hundreds of years, detailing ongoings of a galactic republic turned dictator, turned rebellion. It's unclear if the concerns Jedi or the Sith. It is, however, to be unconnected to the Skywalker saga. It is meant to be a standalone movie, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. Lucasfilm has no comment whatsoever on the project's details. Sources say that Gosling's development is a late-in-the-game move for Levy's movie schedule. The filmmaker was eyeing to direct a boy band movie set up at Paramount, which would have reunited him with Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. Gosling's interest and involvement suddenly shifted the Star Wars project into hyperspace. If a deal makes, the project would continue to fly like the Millennium Falcon. becoming not only Levy's next movie, but also the next Star Wars movie to go into production, which cameras potentially could roll this fall. The Mandalorian and Grogu wrapped in mid-December and will be released May 22nd, 2026. Gosling's boarding will mark a rare occasion that a Star Wars feature brings aboard an actual A-list actor. The original trilogy featured up-and-comers and British veterans, turning actors Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, and Carrie Fisher into household names. The prequels followed a similar model, although Phantom Menace did bring on Liam Neeson. But he did also follow suit from being nominated from Schindler's List. J.J. Abrams introduced a crop of new rising talent, as well as bringing back the original stars. And a bit of synchronicity, Gosling was name-checked for a Star Wars part back in 2013 when rumors spread online that he and Zac Efron were being eyed for Abrams for a familial part that may eventually become Kylo Ren. The actor last seen starring Universal's Fall Guy, rep by CAA Sloan Offer, recently wrapped on Project Hail Mary, another spacefaring movie, which hails from Phil Lord and Chris Miller. Well, that's ironic because Phil Lord and Chris Miller were once directors on a Star Wars project that they got fired from. Okay, so what the fuck does this mean, right? Well, I'll tell you this. Paramount, I think, is currently going through where they've already merged with Skydance. So Skydance is probably reevaluating a bunch of shit, same way Warner Brothers did when they merged with Discovery and David Zaslav came in and fucking axed a bunch of shit. I don't think that's exactly what's happening with Paramount, but I have to wonder, with the way this article is worded, the way it makes it sound is that Sean Levy was gearing up to work with Gosling and Hugh Jackman, obviously, on this Paramount, like, boy band movie or whatever. Mentions to Gosling, like, yeah, I've been doing a Star Wars thing, and maybe Gosling went, oh, I want to do that. And if that is the thing that shifted priority, if this thing becomes a done deal, number one, that means Sean Levy's project is a lot farther along than a lot of other people assumed. Number two, if it starts shooting as early as this fall, again, leading more credence to this film project being farther along than a lot of other stuff, which is cool. Number three, Sean Levy must have a hell of an idea for a Star Wars movie if they're willing to be like, yeah, let's put this fucking thing into production. I'm sure Kathleen Kennedy was like, you just made Deadpool and Wolverine? You did the Atom Project? There is not a besmirched mark on your filmography. Granted, this is also apropos for Lucasfilm to be like, yeah, let's get a really hot filmmaker to make a Star Wars movie for us. Well, yes, that is a good idea in theory. You need to write a damn good Star Wars movie before you set someone up with a fucking Star Wars movie. And I think Sean Levy, of all his talents, his strongest talent is writing a damn good story. Because say what you will about Deadpool and Wolverine, Deadpool and Wolverine had a fucking justifiable story to bring Deadpool and Wolverine together, and it was a damn good one. So Sean Levy does a really great job at bringing a family presence to a set of film. I mean, if you watch the behind the scenes of Deadpool and Wolverine, you can clearly see the man is happy as a camper making a fucking movie. The people working with him are happier than a pig in shit. So he's likable to work with. He's got that going for him. Number two, his movies look great. Like, he's not bad. He's not sloppy. He's a really well-talented filmmaker in his own right. So, in my opinion, I think if any of these Star Wars movies actually fucking happening that they've announced directors for, his. If his happens next, sign me the fuck up. You got Sean Levy doing a fucking Star Wars movie. Wallet. Take it. Enough said. Take my wallet. You have Sean Levy making a fucking Star Wars movie, and you got an actor like Ryan fucking Gosling doing it. But what is his Star Wars movie, right? Like, what kind of Star Wars movie is Sean Levy making? Is it like CG underbelly, fucking underworld, heisty, fucking, Han Solo-ish type of movie? Is it like a Jedi Sith movie? I don't really know. I'm leaning more towards the, like, espionage underbelly fucking Han Solo route, even though clearly Ryan Gosling is probably not going to play Han Solo because, well, Han Solo's fucking dead. And that's another thing. Like, we don't know where on a timeline this wing falls. We don't know the parameters of the movie. We don't know, like, I guess what I'm saying is the exciting thing about this is if it happens, and it sounds like I'm hopeful that it does happen. If this movie starts filming, it's going to be exciting because, oh, cool, finally, Lucasfilm has a fucking Star Wars movie in production that isn't a Skywalker sequel, or B, a safe bet like the Mandalorian and Grogu movie. Look, I'm looking forward to the Mandalorian and Grogu movie, but we all know why the Mandalorian and Grogu movie got turned into a fucking movie. Because they needed a movie. They needed something palpable. They needed something that people will go see. You know, and the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, and Grogu, like that is for sure like yes, that will probably get butts in seats. Definitely. And Pedro Pascal is going to be a busy son of a bitch, I'll tell you that. But overall, you know, Ryan Gosling going to Star Wars, watch him in Blade Runner 2049 and tell me he can't do Star Wars. Anyway. Before we wrap up, there's some quick things I want to touch on here. Speaking of directors getting some good shit, this was announced today. Zach Cregger rebooting Resident Evil. Now, I just saw this in passing literally before I hit the live button. Zach Cregger did Barbarian. Came out in 2023, I think. Yeah. And he's got a new movie coming out next week called Companion with Jack Quaid. That movie looks trippy as fuck. Now, based on Barbarian and what I've seen with this, I'm like, you know what? This guy has the chops to do Resident Evil. Apparently, it's a reboot. Apparently, it's going to be in line with the games. We've heard that fucking multiple times. We'll see if it actually stands true this time. But I'm excited. I like Zach Cregger. I think between Barbarian and hopefully Companion, I think he's a solid filmmaker in his own right. And I think if there's anyone who can breathe new life into Resident Evil on film, it's probably him. Speaking of breathing life into film, fucking Robert Eggers. Okay, this guy, within 2 days, Robert Eggers has 2 projects in the works now. One of which is this one took me by fucking surprise. This was not on my 2025 bingo card. So not only is he doing a movie called Werewolf, which is set in the 13th century, which is in typical Robert Eggers fashion, he's also doing a fucking sequel to Labyrinth at TriStar. So Focus Features announced that they're doing Werewolf, which is his next movie after Nosferatu, but he's also closed a deal to write and direct a new Labyrinth film for TriStar Pictures. This news comes following the unveiling of the 2025 Oscar noms, which includes 4 for Eggers' hit vampire flick, cinematography, costume design, production design, makeup, and hairstyling categories. Details for Eggers' Labyrinth are under wraps, but we're told the film is a sequel to, rather than a remake of, Jim Henson's 86 classic. Eggers is writing the script with Sean, his collaborator on the 2022 Viking actioneer, The Northman, with whom he's also working with on Werewolf. Chris and Eleanor Columbus will produce alongside Lisa Henson, with Brian Henson executive producing. A beloved musical fantasy starring young Jennifer Connelly, the late David Bowie, Labyrinth follows the former 16-year-old Sarah as she navigates a vast, otherworldly maze to rescue her infant brother Toby, whom inadvertently wished away the realm of the Goblin King Jareth. Though through her journey, Sarah encountered a variety of magical creatures and challenged the test to resolve. Let's see. The original underperformed, grossing around $34 million against a reported budget of $25 million, faring better overseas and domestically. Efforts to get a Labyrinth follow-up off the ground have been ongoing since at least 2017, with Scott Derrickson most recently attached to a director prior incarnation from a script by Maggie Levin. Still playing in theaters. So basically, Robert Eggers is doing a fucking franchise, and it's not the franchise anyone expected. But is it really a franchise, or is it more like a single movie? You know, like, this will be interesting. Robert Eggers doing a fucking Labyrinth sequel. Like, how do you do that without David Bowie? That'll be a challenge. Unless, look, I like Robert Eggers. I think Robert Eggers is like one of the most talented filmmakers working today. But what is he going to do? What is Robert Eggers going to do with a Labyrinth sequel? I am very curious about that. Very curious indeed. Anyway. Mickey 17. Moving on to other movies. Moving on to other things. This trailer dropped, I think, Wednesday from one Bong Joon-ho and Warner Brothers. I would have loved to have like reacted to it. I would have loved to like done a breakdown of it, but Warner Brothers is stingy and they like hitting people with copyrights, so it didn't bother. Didn't want to bother dealing with that, so I just didn't. But this movie looks dope as fuck. It's gone through the release date ringer too. It was originally set for January 31st of this year. Then it got moved to April. Now it's moved to March because apparently Michael B. Jordan's Sinners movie needed more time to work on the VFX, but Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17 is ready to go. So this will be releasing March 7th. This new trailer looks wild as fuck. I can't wait for this movie. I love Robert Pattinson. I love Mark Ruffalo. I love a lot of supporting cast. Like I will be there day one for this movie for sure. But that's about all I got, guys. That's about all I got this week. Wasn't really much else there to talk about. Captain America comes out in a couple weeks. Box office for that is looking good. The question is, will it have legs? Don't really know. Can't really say for sure. Time will tell. And also the quality of that movie will depend on the kind of legs it has. But I would just like to thank Cameron, Jake, Jedi Mike. I saw you pop in there at the end. Chainsaw, Jeffrey, Ronan, Braden, Travis, Mwambwat. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Antonio, I see you there too. Catch me again next week. Hopefully we'll have some other shit to talk about. Maybe we'll get some more picks for Supergirl. Doubt that, but worth a shot. I'll probably maybe provide some thoughts on Companion because I think I might be seeing it like on a Thursday night or something. Maybe I'll see it Saturday. Not really sure. But, you know, do me that thing. Do me that favor. Do me that favor. Just do me that one favor, you know, like hit that fucking do the thing. That. Just do that. You'll be fine. All good in the hood. All good in the hood. But as I always like to say, you know, much love. Take care. Stay safe. You know, catch me on Council Creators every Wednesday. Catch me on Party Nation every Tuesday when I get the chance to hop on there. You can catch me on the Vodka stream most Friday nights. Hopefully I'll be there tonight. You can also catch my stuff at Multiverse of Color. You can read what I write there. My reviews for Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man will go up there week to week. How I'm going to write those reviews is remain to be seen. It'll probably just be in batches, just like the episodic release. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Stay tuned. I've got some other stuff working in the can for YouTube. I was going to do a Pokemon XD Gale of Darkness playthrough, but my GameCube that I replaced my original GameCube with is now starting to not play discs, so I have to shift focus into what I'm going to do next. But I'll shed more light on that soon. But much love, everyone. Thank you again for stopping by. Really love the support. Really love chatting with you guys every Friday. Take care. Stay safe. Pieces, Reese's. Where is it? There we go.